First off, I want to start off and say that I did not promise not to buy books. I just promised to be more picky and not buy as many books. And I feel like I did a pretty decent job because I put some back. Hello everybody, welcome back to another book related video here on my channel. Today I figured we would answer book questions and I have yet again another haul. This is probably my fourth haul and it's only February 18th, so I feel like I bought a lot of books here lately. But with that being said, 2 of them were free and I'm going to leave the total at the end of this actual little book haul real fast because you'll be amazed at all the books I got for less than even $5. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into today's video. First off, I want to go into this video starting off with the haul, and I have with me 8 books that I bought. Well, sort of bought. There are 5 hardcovers and 3 paperbacks. The first 2 are free. On base, we have a thrift store and then a store behind that, and apparently everything there is free. And the first book I got is Tom Clancy's Oath of Office. I've been seeing Tom Clancy books all over the place, especially thrift stores, and since it was free, I went ahead, picked it up, and that way I could determine if I want to read more of his books or not. I haven't seen this book yet, not that I know of, but it really looked familiar, and I seen it said a thriller on it, so I did pick it up. It is Brad Thor's Spy Master. Now let's get into the books that I actually paid for at the thrift store on base. Apparently, hardcovers are 50 cents and paperbacks are 25 cents. They had a deal going on and everything was 50% off. So I can't wait to tell you guys how much I paid. First one, we have Ellen Hilderbrand. This one is The Identicals. I wanted to collect all of her books in hardcover because right up there, I have Hotel Nantucket. It's a hardcover that I got at a thrift store as well. And I want to stay on the hardcovers for her, but for right now, for as much as I paid for all these books, I'm gonna say this is a steal. We also have by her 28 Summers, and last was Barefoot. I need to remove stickers and still clean these up a little bit, but I just was so excited to show off these books and also hop into another video. When my husband and I went to Barnes & Noble's to try and find me a reading journal, I knew these were a series because they go along, but there's actually 3 books in the series. So we have Fable, Namesake, and then lastly, The Last Legacy. Believe it or not, I can take a photo of the receipt potentially and put it up in here. All of these books, all 6 of the books, since I got the first 2 for free, I only paid $1.12 for every single one of these. Ellen Hilderbrand is very hyped up right now. Her books at thrift stores are going for $3-4 at least for paperback. The Fable series, I'm pretty sure this in Barnes & Noble's is probably, because it's a hardcover, at least $10, if not $20 or so. I feel like I really stole these. Honestly, for paying for 6 books $1.12, I can't complain at all. With that book haul out of the way, let's get into the book questions. The first question is, how do you manage time and to read multiple books a month? I am not a person that reads like 20 books a month. My end goal for this year is only 25 books total. I'm trying to take it really chillax. So I'm just gonna say this year what I've been doing is I don't get on my phone as much. Instead, I pick up a book and I've been trying to find books that are really, really great reads. I know that sounds hard. Sometimes I look at Goodreads, see what their star ratings are. Other times, if it's just something that has an interest that is an interest of mine, I will pick it up and then I will read it. How did I get into reading? This is a very good question because honestly, I have no idea. I have been reading since I can remember being in 1st grade and picking up a bunch of books like Magic Tree House, Nancy Drew's. I love Nancy Drew's, and I think I've been in reading ever since, honestly, kindergarten, potentially, maybe 1st grade. I remember we used to have in elementary school where you would read so many books and you could get prizes, and I thought that was so cool. So I would read as many as I could, and I've always loved reading. I've fallen out of it every now and then, but for the most part, I still love reading. My son has come to join me, so if you hear him, he is literally standing right here. How do I get out of a book slump? I'm not gonna say I always get out of a book slump. I will say I do try and pick up somebody like Nicholas Sparks because I know his reads are very fast-paced and for the most part 4 stars or 3 stars. I try to pick up people that I know I'm going to enjoy reading, and that's honestly how I get out of my slumps. Otherwise, it's just me taking time away from actually reading and not reading for a couple months, even if it takes a couple months to get out of a book slump. What are your top 3 genres? My top 3 genres would either be Christian, any history type non-fiction books, or just, I guess, YA/fiction, or just fiction in general. I love those 3 topics, especially the military. Favorite things about reading. My favorite things have to be about how sometimes with certain books you can just get entrapped into the book and pretty much you can be like tunnel vision to where nothing else really matters. And I just love how there's so much world building sometimes, and also how you can just escape and relax, and also the benefits of reading, like health-wise, how it relieves stress, helps you sleep at night, things like that. Do I use a reading journal? Yes, Technically, I made my own. It's in a binder. I print off papers. I made my own worksheets, and yes, I have my own, but it's very simplified and not very creative compared to other people. I wanted to buy one online, but the ones I really liked were $30+ and I just didn't want to spend that kind of money, so I made my own. Do I like hardbacks more than paperback or vice versa? If you didn't catch what I meant about the Ellen Hilderbrand books trying to get them all as hardbacks, you might not have known that I am a big hardback person. I love paperbacks as well, but I'm more of a hardback person. Do you crack your spines? Now, this is a very apparently controversial topic. I love cracking my spines. I'm not gonna lie, there are a few books, the Twilight book and a couple others that have been brand new that I try and keep brand new, but otherwise I will fold a book. I'm sorry. I love cracking my spines. They just lay flat, and if I have a paperback, I'll do it with a hardback, but you can't tell as much with a hardback. Do I like holiday books? I don't honestly read books trying to wait till a certain season. If I want to read it, I'll read it. I don't care too much. I did happen for Valentine's Day to read To All the Boys I Loved Before series. I didn't mean to plan that out, but I guess it kind of worked out pretty good. Otherwise, no, I don't read holiday books and try to stick to holiday books for certain holidays. What is your most controversial opinion? I have to say, I think besides the cracking the spine, my most controversial opinion would be the fact that I don't always like happy endings. A lot of people hate the Divergent series because of Allegiant. Allegiant was my favorite book. I'm glad that happened, to be honest, because at the time, that was the only book that has ever done that to me. Do I like reading more standalones or series? I am a big series person, but the issue with series is I always have to buy all the books in a series before I read them. I've read a lot of standalones, but I do prefer series because I feel like you can get more insight because it's over the course of multiple books instead of just one book. But sometimes it's nice to be in between a series and read a small standalone. Next question is, do I read a series before owning it? I kind of just talked about how I try to always own a series before I even start reading it, and right now I have multiple series that I'm trying to kind of finish, but I'm waiting to see them in thrift stores and other places. Do I annotate books? Hard no. That is something I cannot get into. The only books I think I've ever technically annotated are books for like the Bible, like study guides, certain things in the Bible, and those maybe like daily devotional books. Otherwise, no, I don't annotate. I don't like writing in books. What is your favorite place to read? It used to be back home when I didn't live in the desert and I wasn't crowded by all these houses and I had privacy before the military stationed us in a city. I love to read outside. Even when we were stationed in Wisconsin, I love to sit out on our little apartment front porch and read, because for the most part it was like older people in the community. They all minded their business, maybe said hi, but it just wasn't honestly as bad as it is out here. I love to read outside, get the breeze, get the air, especially when it's like fall or if it was like spring. Out here in the desert though, I have to say I don't like reading outside. I have nosy neighbors. The wind is always blowing, so dust is all over the place and it's hard to keep your pages down. So honestly, my favorite place to read is right on the floor while my husband is playing games right here. I am right next to him and just reading, doing my own thing. My second favorite place is honestly just reading in bed right before bed. Do you always finish your books or do you have a DNF pile? I try to always finish my books. I don't care if it's something that will take me forever. I've only DNF'd one book, and that was last year. That was Stephen King's The Stand, and that's because it was 1,141 pages and I got 225, I do believe, in it, and I just couldn't do it no more. There was like 8 point of views and I was struggling and I kept forgetting because I would put it down for like 2 weeks and never pick it up. I kept forgetting what I read. I try not to DNF. I have done it once, maybe twice, but not very often. How long does it take me to read a book? Technically, it could take me anywhere from a couple days to a week if it's a 300-page book. If it's a 600 or 900-page book, it could take me a few days, but for the most part, it's gonna take me a couple weeks, maybe even a month to finish. There have been a couple books that I have finished within 2 days of reading that are 400 or 500 pages, and then there's other books that are 200 pages that have taken me 2 weeks to read. It all depends on how much I'm into the book and also how much time I do have. The last and final question is, what is my rating system? Technically, I feel like every video I talk about this a little bit, but 5 stars are something that I was flipping pages. It kept me the whole time, and basically I could remember it for a couple days to a couple weeks. If I didn't remember it, or if I wasn't as involved into the book and I could walk away from it, but it was still very good and I was still turning pages, it's a 4 star. And if it's something that it's a pretty good book, pretty decent, but I could also walk away from it and it didn't keep me for a very long time, it's 3 stars. 2 stars is both good or bad. It all depends on how much I really liked it or really hated it. But for the most part, it didn't keep me. I had a hard time reading it. It took me forever. It was both bad or both good. you know, couldn't really decide which one's which 2 stars. My final one is basically how I determined 1 stars was DNF or what the heck is this. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed the small little book haul and also all my questions and answers. Be sure to stay tuned for any other book related videos. I'll see y'all next week and God bless.